Welcome to Shape Makers, the podcast series from the Aluminum Extruders Council. AEC is a trade organization representing over 75% of the aluminum extrusion production in North America. In this series, you'll hear about key issues that affect both extruders and suppliers in the industry, as well as those who specify and use aluminum extruded products. Our guest speakers will discuss in-depth topics like aluminum extrusion, fair trade cases, what the industry is doing to attract and retain skilled workers, how extrusion products are rising to the challenge of stricter building and energy codes, the rise of extrusion use in vehicles, and much more. So sit back, relax, get comfortable, and get ready to learn more about aluminum extrusion.
Hello, everyone. This is Jason Weber from the AEC. Today, I'm joined by Mr. Mark Butterfield, probably a man that needs little introduction. He's been a long time participant in everything having to do with AEC. So, hi, Mark.
Hi, Jason. How are you?
I'm doing well. I hope the same for you.
Yeah, all is good on this side. Looking forward to the discussion here today.
Yeah. Well, we just, it's with your new, I'd say your new position within the AEC as the chairman, I thought it was a great opportunity to grab you and do a little podcast and give you the opportunity for maybe those who don't know you or don't know you quite as well, to talk about yourself a little bit and your, hopes and dreams for the AEC in this new role that you have. So, I would just start by, opening it up and just kind of giving everybody your history, not only within the AEC, but also, just your working career, wherever you've been, what have you done?
Yeah, Jason, I mean, I think it's like a lot of others in our industry. Once aluminum gets in your blood, it's kind of hard to get it out. That's at least what I've found. I've been fortunate to work in the industry and be part of very vertically integrated companies probably for a little over 33 years. I came up through the technical side, started as an intern in engineering, was operating the pad at that time. I remember my first job, I said to myself, I can't believe they're paying me to do this because it's what I love to do, right, as an 18-year-old. And was able to progress up through the technical side, engineering manager and tooling manager and plant manager, plant engineering, and then got into the management side and casting and extrusion, fabrication. So I was able to go from an engineering intern to president of the company, and certainly would not change anything from my experience. I've been able to engage with great companies and been able to develop some tremendous friends and relationships through the industry and the AEC. And the AEC has been significant. So serving as now chairman of the AEC and vice chairman of ET. So it's been a great experience.
Yeah, definitely. One of the things not that I'm a real big history buff, but I do like to hear people's kind of origin stories. And tell me about some of the people, because you have, you started off your career at Magnode, correct?
That's correct.
Which, was a long time member of the AEC and, the legacy company that it is now, still a member of the AEC, but maybe talk about some of the, I don't want to call old timers, but I'm going to use that term anyway. So some of those guys who are really some of the foundations of the AEC and what you learned from them and how they helped you in your career.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question, Jason, because there are those companies that are out there that were really the founding companies. The Bidwells and Magnode and the Werners and Almag, and there's so many companies like that really led the way. But what I would say, the Bidwell family, that's where my career started. And I can remember, I was very young. I was probably 19 or 20, and Art Bidwell, Mr. Bidwell said, hey, I want you to start doing die correction and working in maintenance on Saturdays and Sundays, because that's really where you're going to learn. And it was that engagement, it was that support. it was that willingness to allow, a young team member to try new things and grow, which is where it got me where I am today. And I think so many others in our industry was able to prosper from those type of companies that we all worked for. They were heavily engaged in the AEC. I can remember going to my first AEC meeting in 1990 up in Chicago, and we were doing a design manual work there. And, the Bidwells were always very supportive of that. And I think that we need to have that support from the company side, right? In order for the AEC to continue to grow and for us to develop our industry. And that's what it's going to take, is that level of engagement. So great experiences.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, those are fond memories. Kind of one of the things that you wish you knew you were living in the good old days when it was back then, because it definitely didn't feel like it, I'm sure, at some points in time along the way. So
we always look back, right? You always look back at where you came from. And I'm fortunate now to be part of a tremendous organization that supports AEC. Pennex has a long history within the AEC, heavily involved in both in the committees and senior leadership. Rick Merluzzi, past president of Pennex, served as chairman as well. So great to get into another company that has those same beliefs in the industry and in the commitment to the industry and in the work that we're willing to do. So
yeah,
sometimes you just get lucky, I guess, Jason.
Yeah, well, rather be lucky than good sometimes.
Yeah.
That's definitely. So you brought it up, right? The engagement, the things that you've done so far throughout your career and the work that you've done within the AEC, right? The volunteers, right? The AEC is basically run by the volunteers. Work is done by the volunteers. Can you maybe speak a little bit about whether it's early or even lately, as you've chaired the automotive team, you worked in industry promotion, of course, from some of the other manufacturing or workforce development, teams that you've participated in, and what that, how that's helped you in your career as you progress forward, but also, I guess there'd be some more of the intangible benefits that you get from that, and the things that you learn and getting to network with all the different people that you do.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different values of the AEC. It just depends on how you engage, right? And are you able to take advantage of that? For me personally, I've been involved with the committees, as you mentioned, heavily involved with the automotive side, ET. Some of the die correction committee meetings and the work that we do there. And it's beneficial not only because it's very rewarding to give back. This industry has served me well and I want to serve it. So it's rewarding to give back to it. But every time you have a meeting or engage in a committee or talk to a new member of a committee, you really do learn something. And you build, other relationships. The networking is tremendous. The value of the surveys and just the ability to benchmark your company against others. That's where the value really comes. And it can come from all different areas. It can come from the technical side. If you're heavily engaged in like, for example, the ET committee, there's tremendous value that comes from being part of that. If you're engaged in the tool and die or workforce development or industry promotion or automotive, I mean, it's a long list, and there's something really for everyone out there. I would say that if you extrude aluminum at its simplest form, you've dealt with a challenge that has been solved within the AEC at one point or another. It's just a question, have you been part of that? Have you had the opportunity to work within the AEC to kind of help with those solutions? But very rewarding from that perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. There's always something to learn. You never know when that learning is going to occur, I think is the other thing. But you need to show up and you need to be open to those ideas and what the people that have come before you, or maybe the people that are going through similar issues right now. The industry is there to help, because the best, I heard it say one time, everybody wants good competitors, right? It lifts the industry up. And we definitely need to do that, to be good stewards of this industry, because I do come back to the legacy that you shared, whether it be the Bidwells or the people that you've learned from. I mean, you stand on top of their shoulders. It's what you're really doing. It's the combined industry that really helps propel it forward. So that's really good. So we've talked a little bit about, right, your history, about the AEC and what it is. What do you see as the new chairman of the AEC? Kind of what are your hopes? What are your fears? How do you see as a path forward?
Well, hopes. Let's see. So there's a quote, and I always relate to it, and it goes something like, a goal without a plan is a wish, right? So a goal without a plan is a wish. And having my technical background, I believe in that, and I tend to be more on the plan side of it. So with that said, my vision for the AC is really growth and sustainability for the AC, and for that to happen, we need to attract active and engaged members. That's really at the heart of the AC. It's the engagement of the people. It's our greatest value, right? And we do a great job with it, but we need that engagement from companies that are interested in growing their business and developing their people. And I would say I plan or I hope to see that continue to increase, because I think there's a lot of opportunities in it. In our industry, I think there's been a tremendous turnover in talent and technical talent, and just in general within the team members that we've seen come and go on the committee. So, I hope to see that continue. I mean, that's an objective of mine, is how do we ensure that the value is understood of the AEC, and how do we get the companies, new and old, to be more engaged? If we think about the priorities for me as the chairman, which is an honor, by the way, for me to serve, is first to make sure that the needs of our members through the work of the AEC are met, and provide a very unified voice for our industry when and where it's needed. I think that's the first and foremost, is that we have to be united. We have to serve the needs of our members. And those needs are communicated from our members. And that means that we need to be fluid, we need to be flexible, we need to be able to flex to the needs of the membership as it changes. So that would be probably one of my main priorities. The second would be, obviously, fiscal responsibility to ensure that AEC has the capacity and stability to serve our members, not only today, but in the future. And as the needs change, we need to be, capable of providing, those services or opportunities. And then third, and I think it's one of the key things with the AC, and you know this as well as I do, Jason, is that I think our industry is much different than others. I think we have a very unique culture and reputation within the AC, and we want to maintain that to the highest standard possible. We all compete, right? We all compete against each other, but we also are able to come together as an industry and do what's best to ensure that industry remains healthy and strong. And that's the foundation in which our companies work within. So making sure that I do everything I can as chairman to maintain that culture and that working environment. Those are probably the top three things that are on my list.
Yeah. Well, I think, the culture of, basically the industry and working together, because obviously, we have our meetings. There's the annual meeting in the spring and then the fall management conference, but it's really kind of what happens in between, right? Whereas the bulk of the work gets done. And I think that's one opportunity for us from the AEC staff perspective to continue to foster is the ongoing, whether it's a team or a committee, however that work is happening, to keep it going, in between the meetings. Because I think a lot of times, if you just show up at the meeting, that's great. We love to have you there, but it's really getting involved at the base level in a team, on the committee, or even some of the teams now have sub work groups that you can get involved in. And obviously, not only does a lot of that work occur in between the meetings that we have, but if you participate in a team, although we'd love to have you come to conference, you don't need to necessarily be there, right? We have, virtual options in this world that we live today. So there's all kinds of ways that people can actually, attend and contribute to the work that's being done and not have to be there, in person, so to speak.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Jason. The spring conference and the fall conference is really the bookends as we think about it, right? From the AC standpoint, kind of captures everything in between. But, to your point, there's lots of different opportunities to engage, and nothing is mandated. They're very flexible. The committees are very flexible. I think the key point of that, though, is just engagement, being part of it. There's so many different areas within the AEC you can engage in. It's just like you say, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. And I believe that. If you truly love and you have a passion for what you're involved in, you'll never work a day in your life. You may have some tough days, but you may not consider it work. Same thing with the AEC. There's so many different areas to engage in. Find the one where your passion is, where you really want to be part of it, maybe where it benefits your company, or where maybe it benefits you, or maybe it's an area you want to learn more about. That'll drive you, and it'll make it a great experience.
Yeah. So from the Pennex standpoint, Pennex Metal Exchange, I mean, you all, offer so much of your time and your talents to the AEC. How do you view that as, the president of Pennex, and utilizing that in helping you with your, your development of your people, processes? Is there a secret sauce there that you have?
Yeah, I mean, as you know, you can go out and you can buy the latest technology and equipment and have the most advanced equipment available. But it's the people that determine what you do with that equipment, right? It's their understanding of what can be done with that technology and how to best utilize it. So, and that's what the AEC does, and that's how I see the AEC. That's the development side. That's creating the networking. That's creating the contacts and the understanding of what equipment is available out there. The AEC is more than just extrusion members, right? It's suppliers, and it's a direct connect with all the different material suppliers and equipment suppliers and everything in between that. I see that as a significant tool, the AEC and everything within it, as an opportunity to ensure that my team is exposed to the latest technology, the suppliers that are out there and what they're offering, and the development, whether it's a die correction, event, or if it's another committee event that's occurring. That's the value that I get from it. It's what the value of the team.
Yeah, exactly. So, you mentioned about kind of the exposure, to the latest technologies and everything. Obviously, we just came off of ET. It's every couple years we'll do an ET. Do you have any thoughts on what we just experienced? What were your takeaways? What were you happy about?
Well, I thought ET this year was tremendous. It was well attended. It started with a great team, right? As you know, being involved with ET, it's all about the committee and the support of the AC, and both of those were very strong. Committee members do a lot of work. It takes a lot of time, a lot of dedication. It's just not you go and attend a 1 hour meeting and then you walk away. It's a commitment, and we had a great team and it showed. And then beyond the committee, it's about the authors, right? Because the value of ET is the technical presentations and the latest technology, cutting edge technology that's presented. So the authors are a very critical part of ET. We had a great subset of papers that were presented there. The suppliers, the OEM equipment suppliers, we had greater than 105 exhibitors that were really demonstrating the latest technology and capabilities that, allow your companies to go to a whole nother level. So I thought that was very impressive. I thought the event was a success. I think Jerome Foreman's leadership within ET was tremendous. I think he did an outstanding job. I think he took a different approach to this ET, and I think it showed. I think the facility was great. It's a large event. You've got 12, 13, 1,400 individuals there, and that takes a lot. And it takes the right facility to be able to accommodate that. And I thought it was a great location, and we'll be back there in 2027.
Yep. Same, not same time, but same channel.
Yeah.
So we're definitely looking forward to that. Be the end of April, so be a tad bit earlier than what we did this past ET. But we're definitely looking forward to going back to the Rosen, and we're already planning for ET 27. In the very beginning stages. So I just put a plug in for, if you want to, think you might want to join the committee, come talk to Mark, talk to myself, talk to Jerome Foreman, let us know your interest. And, we would, love to have, the next generation of ET planners coming in and working on the committee, because we, fully intend to continue to develop that program in end users and how we basically who we market and who we sell extrusions to. But I think there's also some good opportunities to maybe bring in some more of the industry, in that maybe offering something less than a technical program. I mean, obviously the technical program is huge, but I think we have seen, especially in this last ET, that we had a lot of first timers there. And there are good opportunities to grab those people the next go around and educate them a little bit further. So obviously we'll continue to work on that. As we go forward for the next year, we'll do the call for papers about this time next year, and we'll very quickly, get going on ET 27. So excited for that.
There's not a lot of break between one ET and another. So once the one ends, literally the last day of the week, we have a meeting on how do we make the next ET even better. So it's already started.
Yeah, no, that is. I mean, my first experience was just after. I mean, I had been to ETs, but my first experience of being on the actual committee was just after ET 16. And of course, getting ready for 20, which became 21 and then became 22. So after 22, we didn't take any breaks. So I'd be lying if I said right now I wasn't missing it. But, I mean, it was definitely, it was a struggle to, after ET 24, is like, oh, what do I do now? Type of thing. So
it's just like we said when we first started, was it kind of gets in your blood, and ETs like that as well. I mean, I think it's not only is it a large committee that you get to work together and get to know each other and you build relationships there, but it's just the exposure that you get across the entire, our entire industry. And it's very rewarding from that aspect as well. You're getting firsthand look of some of the latest technology that's out there. And if you're, I guess, a tech geek like I am within the industry, it's just, whether it's curiosity or whatever it is, it's great to be part of that.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. And, it is a global event. Not that we want to, focus so much on ET, but it is a global event. So getting to meet those people from the far flung reaches of the world and, seeing, the contributions that come in from all these places is truly amazing, right? I think it is the only event like it, right? Because it only focuses on extrusion. Aluminum extrusion, that's all it is.
Yeah.
And that is really cool, and it has a really good draw. So anyway, looking forward to ET27.
Yeah.
That's definitely true. So I don't know if you've seen it, but we did just this week, we opened up registration for the Fall Management Conference. It's going to cover from the 16th of September to the 19th. At the Chicago O'Hare and Hilton. Every year we do the Fall Management Conference, which is really focused on, workforce development, making your plant better, industry promotion. I mean, the breakout sessions that we have, basically the second half of the first day are really the meat of that program, where we start to get really granular in a lot of different issues. You talk about the program at all and what we have coming up?
Yeah, I mean, it is great. It's the fall conference starts off on typically the first part of the week. That's when the teams and the committees kind of get together and work through some of their agendas. So it's a lot of engagement there. Great opportunity, even if you're not part of an existing committee, you're welcome to come and sit in and see what that committee works on. I think that you'd be really surprised the work that's happening on there. So it's a great opportunity to get engaged. Then we kick off the main conference, the main management conference. Like you had mentioned, there's some business updates. That includes business excellence, industry promotion, where we got our IP survey that is out now. Our workforce development, Duncan Crowdis has just done a tremendous job with this, getting this to a whole nother level. We'll be talking about Heroes at Make America, the apprenticeship program. We'll be talking about government affairs. As you know, Jason, that's a very active area within our industry and within the AEC. So there'll be a lot of value there. Then we get into the breakout sessions, and the breakout sessions you can kind of navigate with, send different team members to different breakout sessions, however it makes the most sense for your business. But some of those will be promoting the industry. We'll be looking at the automotive market outlook. We'll have a producers roundtable, sustainability and EPD tool will be part of that as well, all within promoting our industry. And then extrusion manufacturing focus, helping members compete and excel. It's really what we're here for. We'll be talking about trade, a lot of activity in trade right now, making sure that we have a fairly traded and healthy market to be involved in. So there'll be some discussions with trade during the fall conference. Workforce development specifically, a lot of work being done from the HR group. So there's a HR survey report I think everyone will find very interesting. We'll be talking about our apprenticeship program, and again, Heroes that Make America. We'll have supplier tabletop displays. Those are always well received. A lot of interesting things that are displayed there from our suppliers. Aluminum supply and demand will be presented by S&P Global. An AEC town hall discussion that'll kind of focus on some key areas. And then we kind of wrap up with a keynote speaker. We're excited this year to have Stephen Moore of the Wall Street Journal. So, if you can't find something within what I just went through that doesn't have an impact, or you don't have a need in your business, then I don't know what to say. But it's looking forward to the fall conference. I think it's gonna hit on all the key topics that we're thinking about within our businesses and what we're thinking about for our industry. Not only today, there'll be things that you can take away that you'll be able to go back and possibly use, immediately. And then there'll be things that are more long-term for the health of your business and again, our industry as a whole.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I mean, I don't say this lightly. I've gone to I don't know how many fall conferences. Each one of them are obviously a little bit different, but this one is really shaping up to be something special because it, from the Heroes Make America, which is a new program that is basically just being rolled out that the AEC is participating in, the apprenticeship program and what they're doing there in adding, new types of apprenticeships, press operator. And there's another one that escapes me right now, but yeah, those are things that we've talked about within the AEC for a while now. I think because we started something like Heroes Make America. We started a program a couple years ago with Lyft, and so that's kind of been there. But now I think where we're getting to with the AEC is kind of really putting that meat on the bone and having those programs that the members can take back and implement in their in their plants, utilize them to develop their talent, to find new talent, and really look at the AEC as a way to basically craft these programs, but then it's up to the individual members to take them back. And to do something with them. But I think it's really going to be a great couple days, even outside of the team meetings, with a lot of information. And like you said, if you can't take something back with you, then I don't know.
Yeah.
You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and really, you mentioned the town hall, which will should be a very interactive session because there are a lot of things going on right now, outside of the industry that is going to have an effect on the industry. How do we come together? How do we deal with those things? And that's all going to be discussed in basically, an all AEC environment with no, there won't be any press or reporters in there. So we can all basically speak freely, within the industry. And I think it gives you another avenue to get your, to have your voice heard, to be able to ask the questions, and to get, at least a portion of the answer that you need. Can't give everything all the time or answer every single question all the time, but those types of activities within the conference, to me are invaluable for helping, the board, the chairman, to help us chart the course for the AEC over the years to come. So anything else that's coming to mind that you wanted to talk about?
Well, I mean, I think that you hit on it there, right? Is that the AC has always had its foundational engagement within our industry, right? And we've served that well. But I would say the one thing that I'm most excited about within the AC that I see coming is what we just spoke to, right? It's this new engagement, it's the engagement and the activity, not only with those existing core areas, but also in the newer areas, right? The sustainability work that's being done, that's been tremendous. The workforce development, as I mentioned, our most critical part of our business is our people, and what are we doing to support that and develop that? The work that's being done from the HR group and the work that's happening around that with the surveys, the government affairs that we've been talking about, that's kind of taken it to another level. And where that comes from is, to your point, right? We need to hear, as chairman, what I want to hear is I want to hear from the members and say, is there gaps, right? Is there areas that we could be serving you that we haven't in the past? And maybe there wasn't a need in the past, but as we know, things change and things change quickly. It's a global economy. Our competition is global. Our needs change quickly. So as chairman, I'm interested in that feedback. And as we've seen and as our history has shown, we'll respond to that and we'll adjust the direction of the AC and what we offer based on that feedback and need. So,
Right.
yeah, outside that, Jason, I've always been heavily engaged with the AEC. One of my most prized awards was my Volunteer of the Year award on 2022. And it's not so much about giving, but what I really received from being a volunteer. I believe that the health of our companies is based on the health of our industry. And, I think the AEC does a great job being the voice of our industry. And I think it's important for those that believe in that as well to get engaged and, be part of the AEC.
Absolutely. I'm right there with you, because I think what I can go back again, kind of thinking about the history, and I wasn't obviously there, but at the basically the founding of the AEC was founding because there was a problem.
Yeah.
There was a problem, and companies came together, to solve that problem. And I think at the end of the day, that's one of the foundational things is, what are your problems? What can we help you solve? And how do we move that forward? Because, it's not always what's good for one is good for all, but that's, typically the case, most of the time. So anyway.
Yeah, I've always found it powerful to sit in some of the meetings that we have that are directly related to some of the largest challenges that our industry is facing. And you've got the leaders from all the different companies. We all compete to some degree at some level. But when we're in those meetings and we're having those discussions, it's clear without a doubt that we're focused on, how do we address this? How do we move forward as an industry, and what's in the best interest of the industry? And we always come out of those meetings, with clear direction and the ability to cross those hurdles. So it's always very, very rewarding and always a great experience.
Yeah. It's kind of one of those things is like, look, we get you. You can come in, we get you. We know where you're coming from. So
Yeah.
if you're newer to the industry, there's a group of people there within the AEC that understands. And you've mentioned networking, working through all the different issues that we do. At the end of the day, you're not alone. If somebody's listening to this podcast for the first time, hadn't listened to an AEC podcast before, I think that's one of the great things about the AEC is because, hey, we're there. We can be your support.
Yeah.
So if nothing more, just to have somebody to chat with from time to time. So I really appreciate you doing this today, Mark. You of anybody, like most, you wear many hats, and we're so thankful for your participation and your contribution to everything that the AEC does. And thanks again for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Jason, and thanks for the opportunity and all the work that you do and the entire AEC team.